Students of English literature, today our topic is from an elegy written in a country churchyard that is composed by Thomas Gray. In this lecture 2 English version lecture, students, we will study this poem as you have gone through lecture number 1 and in which you came to know the style of the poem and the thinking of the poet and the theme of the poem. Student, now let's begin this poem. This poem is an elegy in the name but not in form. It employs a style similar to the contemporary odes, but it embodies a meditation on death and remembrance after death. Gray uses churchyard scene to invoke important images. Gray's life was surrounded by loss and death, and many people that he knew died painfully alone. Here he tells us about his forefathers, and he is very sad when somebody doesn't pay attention to them. Students, this poem is about social order, rural life, hopelessness, vanity of life and death. Students, now we begin this stanza, and in this stanza the poet creates a scene of the evening and sadness. The curfew tolls the knell of parting day. This line creates an image of ending something. The curfew tolls, students, this curfew in medieval Europe, the ringing of a bell at a fixed hour in the evening as a signal for final covering or extinguishes fire was used. Tolls is the attack on the bell, is a hit on the bell. The knell refers to the departure and of parting day, the day which is going to end. Now the sense is the bell in the church are being rung, and it seems as the day is going to die and they are giving farewell to the day. It means the ringing bells of the church are giving farewell to the day. And at this time the lowing herd went slowly over the lea. Lea means grassland. Means the herd, the cattle along with cowherds were returning on the grasslands slowly as the plowman homeward plods his weary way. The farmers homeward are returning to their home, plods his weary way. Students, in this expression homeward plods his weary way, there is a figure of speech named as transferred epithet. Transferred epithet is a figure of speech in which adjective is transferred from a noun to another thing. Actually, weary are the people, not the way. In this way, the tired are people, not the way. That's why here is transferred epithet. Now the poet says the farmers are returning with tired steps on the way to their houses, to their homes, and leaves the world to darkness and to me. Here the poet connects this stanza to himself and says nobody is carrying the forefathers who are lying buried in the narrow cell in the graves, and nobody is paying the person who is with them. He is none other than the poet. In this way, the sense of this stanza is it is the time of evening and the bell of the church are being rung and the day is going to an end, and it seems that these bells are giving farewell to the day, and animals, cattle along with their owners, the farmers, were returning, and the farmers and animals are very tired and they are moving homeward slowly, and everybody is not paying attention to the poet and his forefathers who are lying buried. Students, in this stanza number 2, the poet is creating an image of the evening. It is late evening when there are long shadows in the evening and when the sun is about to set. Beneath those rugged elms that yew trees shade, here yew and elms are the trees. Now the picture is there are yew and elm trees and there are long shadows under the trees, and in those shadows there are graves where heaves the turf. Heaves means raised places on the ground that are graves. The turf means the dried grass. In many molding, heap means a mound. Moldering means where dust is falling down, means some of the old graves have become dried and their dust are coming down. So now the picture is, there are graves on which there is a dry grass, and they are and their dust is getting down by and by. Each in the narrow cell forever laid, and in those mould and under those mouldering heaps there were forefathers who were lying dead. It means they are resting there in their narrow cell. Cell means a place, a room that is not spacious. It means in those short graves, his forefathers are lying, and they will continue forever. The root forefathers of Hamlet sleep. Hamlet, village. Forefathers, the ancestors of the poet, which are now dead and will no more rise from there. Now the final sense of this stanza is, the poet has created an image of the evening, and under the trees of elms and yew there are in the shadows of these two trees there were many graves, and these are raised places on the earth, and on which there is a dried grass, and some of the graves are in bad condition, and dust is coming from them, and in those graves our forefathers are sleeping, and they are very narrow, they are not spacious, and these are the resting place for them, and they will rest here forever. Students, now I hope you have got the sense of these two stanzas, and we will study the rest of the poem in next lecture. Till then, you keep on watching RSC classes, and please subscribe our channel so that you may be updated with literature and grammar. Please share, like and subscribe us. Thanks.